So in this YouTube video today, I am doing my cousin-in-law's cornhole boards. Nothing too crazy. All we're doing is we're airbrushing some stain onto these boards before we clear them. First, what I did before I started cutting it out is I used vinyl transfer paper. I drew out the W, I cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and I got to make sure that I get all of the air bubbles out of the transfer paper so I don't get any blow-bys from the size. I'm just using Minwax size right here. Nothing too crazy. Just make sure that it's stirred up really well before you put it into your airbrush and start going. Now I am using the Avanti airbrush from Harbor Freight. I'm still trying to beat this thing up. I'm still trying to break it. It has yet to do so. It's still a very trustworthy brush. I am running the airbrush at 25 pounds. And this Minwax is completely unreduced. So I'm just going straight up and it's working really well. What I do want you to pay attention to is where I am painting. I'm actually not painting on the wood. I'm getting more paint on my masking and I'm letting the overspray be my fade. I don't want to go directly onto the panel with my airbrush. I want to get it more on the masking and have a softer blend from the overspray and not from the airbrush itself direct onto the panel. Or I'm doing the best I can with it. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you get it, but that's what I want you to pay attention to right here. Now I'm keeping the air on, always keeping the air on. That gives me a more of a consistent blend as well. Working the trigger back and forth and trying to get off of the trigger when I come to the end of my line or when I'm transferring back and forth, redirecting my spray pattern. Now, I have said this in the past. When you're watching YouTube videos, when you're watching tutorials and learning from YouTube, the one thing that I really want you to pay attention to is how the person is doing, not what they're doing. There's a big difference. It kind of seems the same, but if you're watching how somebody is doing something, what I mean by that is, where are their hands? What are their hands doing? How close are they to the panel? What are they spraying on? How are they spraying? Don't look at the end result. Look at what the person is doing. Now, my best comparison for this is how to learn how to play golf. When you are watching somebody hit golf balls that's good, are you watching the person hit golf balls or are you only watching the ball in the air? You're not going to learn anything from watching the ball in the air. You got to watch what the person's doing, and that's where you learn. Same thing with this. So we're getting pretty close to the ending of the outside of the shadow, and we will be going to the inside now. What's really neat about this effect is I'm going to have my light source, or my imaginary light source, be the top left. So I'm going to be getting a lot heavier on the top left side of all of the sides of this letter. As you can see, I'm already starting to just hammer it in. And by doing that, when I pull this tape off, it will give it a really cool kind of carved effect, a carved look, a 3D look, if you will, but 3D in as opposed to 3D out. It's really neat. I really enjoyed doing this. I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, but I just haven't had the opportunity before. So I'm really pumped about how this turned out. And that is one of my favorite things about airbrushing too, is you can get effects so easily. If you were to do this with a hand brush or something like that, you will be going back and forth with different colors, blending with your finger, or taking different brushes and stipple effecting and all sorts of stuff with the airbrush. You just hammer it on the inside and you let it do its thing. Airbrushing is super fun, especially when it comes to special effects like this. So I'm still going back and forth. I'm progressively getting darker and darker. I am building the shades up slowly. I don't want to just go full hog and throw paint down all over the place. I want to make sure that I'm getting what I want, where I want it, and how I want it. So build up your layer slowly. You don't want to be a one-stroke wonder. You want to make sure that your control on your patterns and everything are exactly where you want them and how you want them. From here, I'm going to start going around the inside edges or the bottom right side edges, because if I don't do this, if I don't give that any color at all, when I pull all that masking off, it's just going to look like wood on wood. There won't be any effect, there won't be any shadow, it won't look beveled or chiseled or whatever the word is that I'm looking for. It will just be wood on wood. So you got to make sure that you put some type of differentiating color in there, or tint or hue or fade, so you will have something to look at. Now, let's take this off, see what we got. I think it's coming along, looking pretty good so far. If you have any questions about airbrushing or paint, lettering, sketching, drawing, planning, mapping out a project, anything at all, just ask, let me know. Go to tntcustompaint.com, subscribe to the newsletter. I got a real banger coming out here soon. I'm writing it now, so this thing is going to be awesome. I'm going to take my blade right here, clean up this one little blow by, and that is going to be it for this project. I hope you guys had a great time. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.